Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of Final Fantasy V before Job Fiesta. We're almost ready to go into the Cleft of Dimension to go try to take down Exdeath, but we have one last thing we gotta do. We're gonna get on Boko, Angel's trusty chocobo, and we're going to run back to the top of History Falls to refill the magic lantern. So we might use a few summons here and there for some enemies, mainly for the bosses. We want to have Odin for the final boss. The final boss is, spoilers, has 4 parts to him, and one of them is actually susceptible to instant death, so if you summon Odin with the magic lantern, he'll come out and he'll defeat that one part for you, so you only have to worry about the other 3 parts. And you know, having then Bahamut, Leviathan, Sildra, having them attack with their multi-targeting attacks will, you know, take off a good chunk of hit points for the final boss. So it's just a quick little detour. We don't have to worry about monsters because we're on Boko, so no reason not to go fill up the magic lamp. So, and then we'll just get back to our airship and we fly into where Tycoon Castle used to be. You have to be in the airship. You can't like take the Hiryu or like the Black Chocobo. And we got into an airship. We got into a fight as soon as we stopped the Chocobo and got off him. So, all right. Well, there's Castle Tycoon, who it used to be. We head into the black hole there. We're taken into the Cleft of Dimensions. And this says it's kind of like a mishmash of previous areas. So they're not like exact copy-paste maps, but you'll see, you know, and I'll point out, you know, kind of what they are. So we got like a desert area, like the quicksand desert. We had to fight that sandworm, complete with moving sand. So yay! But the enemies here that we encounter here are the same ones that are around the in the desert area around the Phoenix Tower. So some of those annoying land crawls and those centipede monsters that cast Quake. So yeah, I use a lot of healing, but don't feel bad about using a lot of healing or worried about using a lot of magic points here, because not long after this we have another area to go to. But after that, the third area we enter into is Mirage, the town, and we're, even though everyone's going to be frozen in Mirage, remember when we were in Mirage that people were saying that, you know, hey, we can move because we're out of the Cleft of Dimension. But when we're actually in the Cleft of Dimension, you'll notice that everyone's frozen. But we can still use the healing pot, so that's one thing that didn't get frozen. So, gonna take advantage of that, so yeah, feel free to use up all your resources, magic resources. Save your items for later. We're gonna get that free appeal, basically. So, in addition to having a whole bunch of kind of recycled areas, there's a lot of bosses, boss-type monsters in this Cleft of Dimension that we'll be running into. They're actually going to introduce themselves right as we're about to leave this area. Remember when Exdeath freed all those minions, 3 of them volunteered to go and fight us at the tablet dungeons. Well, there's all those other monsters that are hanging out with them. Well, they're going to make a second appearance here very shortly, once we step in front of that door over there. There they come. And we'll end up basically fighting all of them, so you don't have to fight all of them, but it's a good idea to fight all of them. 2 of them that you can skip have a save point. They go to save point, so and then there's some that you obviously can't skip because they block a way forward. So we go through the desert and we end up in this place that looks kind of like the Ronka Ruins. We've got to be climb up chains and stuff like that. A bunch of new enemies. Usually most areas have about 3 new enemy types. So we've got 2 here. We just have the status of the level checks here. Interesting enough, you can charm with the song, the charm song. You can get the level checks to be charmed, even though like they're robots. But they mainly use they check your level, and then they mainly use like blue magics. So like they'll look at your level, and maybe they'll cast level 3 flare or level 2 old or some level based blue magics. There's another new enemy. The Doom Dealer is the cat with the purple cloak on. But we'll deal with him really easily because we charm. Sometimes the grenade blows themselves up, and he blew up the Doom Dealer. So hey, 2 for the price of 1. So that's all the new enemies here. I'll put the stats for the bandlers and the grenades the next time we fight them. So those battles are real quick, so I didn't want to get all their stats up at once. Surprisingly, for the last area, there's there's still some decent treasures, but most of the stuff we already got most of this good stuff that we want. There's a few like most of the armor and stuff is specialty type armor. Like a lot of dance equipment is good here. We get some accessories for the dancer. You get a knife that only the dancer can use, the man-eater that does double damage to human targets. You get some accessories for the dancer that give them more to change the percentage of sword dance from 25% to 50%. We had a few, rods and stuff like that, but the stuff we have is probably better than all that. So, plus we're also limited by the 4-job Fiesta, so. But I guess they had to throw stuff in here for people who were like challenging themselves, or maybe somebody who didn't actually get all the tablets. Maybe thought the tablet dungeons were a little too hard or something, or they couldn't find them all. So they gave a little bit of, some slightly better upgraded equipment. So even though we defeated the Bannerlands, I just kept the stats up there for a little bit longer. Enemies are also going to be some pretty decent AP here. Once we get to the, after the Cleft of Dimensions, we actually enter the Void. The enemies there stop giving experience, but they give massive amounts of AP. So, right now there's you get decent AP and experience. So, the first area we're in with the desert, if you're like trying to level your characters up to level 99, which like kind of takes forever, that's a good place to do it in. You just cast Float on all your characters so that Quake never hurts them, and then you give them the Berserk ability, and they'll fight on their own, and you can just take down the A button on your controller, and the characters will fight on their own, defeat the enemies, and then the A button will hold down, and they'll be able to go through the text, like how much experience you get and stuff like that. And you also take down the up arrow on your controller, and you walk up the hill, and your character take a step up the hill, slide down the hill, walk back up the hill, slide down the hill, up the hill, and slide. So they keep moving forward, and they're always making, but they're not moving anywhere. They're just moving those 2 steps. They're like walking backwards on a conveyor belt. So you'll still be getting into random encounters, but you don't have to worry about fighting those encounters. So I have that save at the bottom. If you look at my save states when I save the game, the bottom slot, all the characters are 99. They have all their levels maxed out, and I kind of maxed it out like, my daddy maxed it out. When he was sleeping, he just put the game on and let the game run on its own. Because like most of the enemies, if you're floating with Quake and you have like the guard rings on, that increases your vitality, that makes you gain hit points back during battle. Yeah, it's pretty easy to just have the game level itself up. So, because otherwise, this game is kind of stingy with experience. So. I mean, the only battles we've run from are the ones we needed to power up the chicken knife. But fighting all the enemies, we're still like high 30s, low 40s. So I think most other Final Fantasies, you're a little bit higher than that, maybe like in the 50s. But I think in this game, you can actually beat this game basically like your base level, your base levels. Like maybe you get like 1 or 2 levels, but they'll do that challenge, you know, in a few years. I still got the Fiesta to do next year, so. Now if I am around that long and I do that low level run in 2025, I will have tied Princess Sarissa in the amount of Fiesta she did. She didn't finish her 3rd one though, but she kind of played from heaven for that one. We got and where rats get endless treats and strawberry shakes from Marty Mouse. They take the bus from Fang. He's the mouse that drives across the Rainbow Bridge. He was one of the mice in Daddy's Final Fantasy III playthrough. Fang, Tupelo, Tanguini, and Baby Moo. So, Daddy will let you play. He got some rats and stuff that are gonna be honored in his Dragon Warrior 3 and Dragon Warrior 4 playthroughs. But there's future playthroughs, so if you have a pet you'd like to nominate to be like named for one of the characters, send it in the comments. Then my daddy can reply to you and get an email or something, and maybe you can send a picture, and then you can use it too as the little thumbnail. So this is kind of annoying. These trees block out a lot of stuff, and it wouldn't be so bad, but I'm trying to get all the treasure, and so some of these trees, it looks like there's a treasure chest, but then the like bushes are in the way, so you gotta go around weird. Lilith Bod, that's a pain to get in Final Fantasy 4. It's only dropped by these Lilith creatures, so my daddy did a 100% run of that, where he got all the weapons and items that can only be dropped by enemies in his inventory, and he had to farm these creatures for a long time to get that one. So, alright, like the Forest of Wow, you have to touch the hole, and that like a spirit comes out. But in this case, the spirit is an evil boss. Now this boss she's a spellcaster, but she's actually weak to mute. You can actually mute her. The problem is, after a while, mute doesn't last very long on her. So yeah, it only lasts like a few turns. But if you have like a Spellblade, a Magic Knight, which I'll have in my next playthrough, they have a mute sword. And they could hit, and they'll keep inflicting the mute status. There's also the Mage Masher knife. It's an old knife. We got it back in World 1. If you kept one around, you could, that has a chance to silence enemies. So, we're just gonna go with the damage that we're doing here. She has some pretty weak defense, so it's not gonna take long for Cara and Angels to cut through her hit points with their swords and katana. Level affects the damage you do, because it's calculated in your damage thing, so you'll notice that as the fight goes on, well, if it would have went along further, Angel and Cara would be doing more damage. And that hero skill like raises basically raises your levels, or factors into a lot of things. It doesn't necessarily raise your stats, but your level is actually a factor in several of the damage equations, so it helps in that sense. Alright, head on into here. And now in like a water cave area, like the History Falls. We get some new enemies here, and we get also our first save point, which is in a perfect place, because in this waterfall area is where we can find the first of the optional super bosses. And he's a robot that's wandering around. But we'll take care of him. Not this episode. he's a tricky guy to take care of, but we have tricks up our sleeve. This party has an interesting way to deal with. I'll give you a spoiler. It's the power of love. So I keep missing it. I don't know what's wrong with the accuracy. But these guys can be annoying because they can cast that demon eye spell on you and turn you into stone. There are stuff with charm though, so sometimes if you charm them, they'll actually stone themselves, like that one did to his buddy. He didn't stone himself, but he defeated himself by hitting himself, so that's nice. This way, we can run into some enemies that were similar in the Drakenville area, so you can run into those like zombie dragons, but they are a problem at this point in the game. Another new enemy here, the Orc Cats. The only problem with them is they absorb holy, so Excalibur's not going to be good against them. I think I accidentally hit one with Cara's Excalibur. Of course, when it's going to heal the enemy, you never miss. But I think it's also like that too with elemental negatives. Your attack's going to hit. So, and of course, do the extra damage. I think one of the bonus classes that they in the remake of this game, they made it for the Game Boy Advance. One of the classes, Gladiator, they have a move that basically like an elemental move, like Fire Sword or Ice Sword. And if you hit an enemy that's weak to that, there's like a strong chance it will instantly defeat them. And if not, I think it does like max damage to 9,999. I haven't played the Game Boy Advance one, so I don't have a Game Boy Advance. But I guess I could do emulation. Well, I mean, this Super Nintendo one is emulated, but Daddy don't feel bad about emulating this game because he actually imported a cartridge, the Japanese cartridge, so he just can't play it because it's in Japanese. Since we're gonna get our last core ring, that's why we only bought 3, because we're gonna get the 4th one right here. Now to the right is a little staircase, and that'll take us to the save point. But there's another hidden room over to the right, and we just want to go there and get all the treasure. So we're gonna skip going that thing, and we're gonna actually go into the save room from the bottom. We'll get to ride a waterfall to down to the thing, but you just gotta be careful when going in the waterfall because it takes you to the spot where Omega is patrolling. Omega is the super boss, the robot super boss. So you just gotta make sure that he's kind of off to the side, so when you don't actually ride the waterfall down and end up hitting him. So yeah, to defeat Omega takes a lot of preparation. So. Especially when you're limited by, the jobs that you have. So yeah, behind this waterfall, secret, you go and get an angel ring. We won't ever equip that, but, it's there. And now Omega's over to the right enough so we can just, ride that waterfall. We're safe. And you can save our game. I'm just going to show, see, here's that room we were at. Over to the left is where that core ring was. And now we can save our game here. And I'm going to do a little bit of prep. I'm going to change some classes up, change some loadout equipment-wise and ability-wise to prepare our party to take on Omega, the first of the 2 super bosses, in our next episode. Take care, see you then. Bye.